I'm Arax, and I just finished recording a podcast with Greta, and basically we talked about what I've gone through this past year. And to sum it all up, I was diagnosed with stage 3B breast cancer in September 2018. I had 6 rounds of chemotherapy shortly thereafter between the months of October and January. I elaborate more on that in the podcast, which is linked below if you guys want to check it out. After my chemotherapy, I had a double mastectomy in March, and these are expanders, if you're wondering. I hope you're not. That was in March. After that, I had about 30 sessions of radiation, and currently I am not gonna knock on wood, but I'm in remission, and still got a lot of follow-up treatments. I go in once every 3 weeks for what I call maintenance chemo, which is incorrectly dubbed for immunotherapy. In this segment, I want to give you my tips, if they're of any value, on a few things that I think would make this whole process much more smooth for anybody that's going through it. And I tried to keep this advice very concise and valuable and almost tangible. So it's not vague and, you know, be positive and this and that. It's pretty specific. And without further ado, I'll get right into it. Okay. So one piece of advice that really helped me, and this was after diagnosis, this is after I started chemo, this is after my hair started falling out. So I'm going to be a little bit shaky because it's an emotional subject for me, and I'm doing it for awareness, not for attention. So it makes it a little more difficult, but valuable nonetheless, I think. So my first piece of advice is to not wait for your hair to fall out, all of it, because it's going to. Just shave it. Get to it, do it, however you feel empowered, whether it's with some alcohol, some friends, publicly, or alone. You want to be dramatic, you want to do it in front of the, you know, I did it on the gram. However you feel comfortable. So my first piece of advice is to take that first opportunity of grasping control and doing it yourself. And with that, my first tip would be to follow beautiful bald girls on Instagram. Not diagnosed, and they're stuck with this look, but really hot chicks that they decided they were so hot they don't even need hair, okay? One of them is Vendela, a Swedish-American playmate. She's so fine, so bald, and her photos taught me selfie angles, makeup advice, like where to stop the bronzer, and just confidence, because she chose that look. She wasn't stuck with it. Another one is a singer named Bishop Briggs. I was fortunate enough to do her makeup for American Idol, and then when she saw me shave my head, she actually did it for me, and she still has a shaved head, and she's amazing. Anyway, that helped me because those people, they're not insecure about it, and I didn't feel like I needed to hide my bald head, which was nice, to not always feel like I have to wear a wig or a scarf, and when I did, it was great, and when I didn't, it was okay. It was okay for me, it was okay for my children, it was okay for people around me, and if it's not okay for you, that's okay too. There's so many great wigs, and I'll get to that. Tip number 2, I think it's a lot like pregnancy. And I guess this is very specific to somebody who's both the mother and a breast cancer survivor or recently diagnosed, is that it's very similar to pregnancy. The next year of your life is going to be hard. You're not going to like how you look. It's going to be a lot of physical side effects and a lot of hard hits to your mental health. But just like pregnancy, not presidency, but even presidency, just like pregnancy, it is temporary, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. And you are resilient, and you are strong, and you have to wait this out, sorry. And you have everything that it takes to get there. Like, you're equipped with it. You know, it's just a matter of picking up the right tools, because they're there. So that's number 2. Oh, and also it's like pregnancy because you're gonna get a lot of bad advice. Everybody's an expert, right? Everybody can heal you, everybody knows somebody, you're gonna get a lot of bad advice. And I would say be very selective with what you do take in. listen to everybody because compassion should be mutual, but the advice that you take and you apply, I think, should be evidence-based. Tip number 3, there is a meme for that. My favorite meme page is at The Cancer Patient, and I would say that this page single-handedly helped me overcome many of the emotional obstacles that came with my diagnosis by straight up laughing at it. So many jokes, and if you can laugh at a situation, you can heal from it, and I feel very strongly about this, and there's a lot of memes, and the way I found out was because I was so low, I was so upset, my mind was in such a dark place that nothing was helping. Not journaling, not meditation, not going for walks, not a hot shower. By the way, all 4 of those things are things that will help you just a little bit, but I defeated all those. And having the terrible sense of humor that I have, I went to the Explore page on my Instagram and I typed in cancer memes, and that's how I found out that even if you gotta do chemo, hoe is life. That was the first meme I saw. Needless to say, it struck a chord. So if you can laugh at it, I think it helps the situation just glide by a little bit faster, and that's all you're trying to do because you can't fix it, you can't change it. It's certainly not going to go away overnight, but you can kind of dance with it, you know? Tip number 3, for the best wigs, shop where the hoes shop. Okay? Not where the Orthodox Jewish moms are going, not where the cancer patients are going, not where alopecia patients are going. Nothing against all of those because I'm some of those, right? But hoes, they don't have to be bald. They don't have to wear a wig. They're wearing it to slay, whatever that means, right? So it's going to be even better than their natural. They're going to bring it. They're going to have a beautiful hairline. It's going to be flat on their head because, you know, they all do things like this for their photos. They're going to know the angles. They're going to know how to wear it so it doesn't show. They're going to have the right, like, technicians. So my favorite wig stylist on Instagram is this girl named V Houston Stylist. And she makes them from scratch. You give her like a little deposit. I think it's like a few $100. She measures your head. She does the wig, and like, I don't think you understand. Like, it has baby hair. Like, you can pull it up. You like, it looks like the realest head of hair you're ever gonna have. And I had gone the other route of like trying to buy like a really expensive one, but if it doesn't lay right, it's not right. So it is true that good hair is not cheap and cheap hair is not good. It's not always true that if you pay a lot of money for a wig, you'll get a great wig. So I would say for a great wig, go with the hose. Honey. Tip number 5 is when growing out your hair, I like to get frequent cuts, okay? And I like for my hair to be the best style possible for this length, as opposed to looking like I suffered from hair loss and now it's coming back and we all have to wait 3 years until it touches my shoulders. I think that it should be deliberate, not depressing. That has helped boost my confidence a lot. It was growing out bald, and then it was kind of patchy in certain areas. And one of the hardest things to do when you're trying to grow your hair is to cut your hair. But sometimes you need to. So I got these cute little sideburns, came down to a nice thing. I had the back tapered. I have it come to a fade on the side because I have a round face, and like I'd rather have the length up top. And know that even if you're trying to grow your hair out, it is not going to take the same amount of time for this hair back here to touch your shoulder as it is for this hair up here to touch your shoulder, because they're 6 inches away from each other in terms of height, right? So like no matter what you do, you still have to wait for this hair. So you have so much time to play around with this. If you've ever wanted to experiment with colors, they're fine. Hair dye is not what it used to be. It is not full of the ammonia and the chemicals and everything. It doesn't penetrate into your scalp and make your way to your bloodstream. That's why it's okay when you're pregnant. It's okay, you know, later also. That said, be reasonable, be gentle, but I think your hair should look its best at its current stage and not look like it's just desperately waiting for the future when it will look good. Okay, next tip. Let's say you're newly diagnosed. There's a lot of things you don't know yet, but if you like to be pretty, and some of you do, I sometimes do, and sometimes I'm lazy about it, but while you still have your brows and lashes, get good at them, so memorize their shape. When your brows go, you're going to need to know how to fill them in, and you don't want to look like that grandma. That grandma. The one that's just doing this with the pencil. The shapes aren't the same, there's a little bit of sweating down, you know? Don't be her, it's a little reddish. You're not a redhead, don't have red eyebrows. Things that work are eyebrow stencils, surprisingly. There's a lot of makeup artists on Instagram who went through that one stage where everybody overplucked their eyebrows and it never came back. Not a lot of Armenian ones, but like the others. And And they have these great tutorials on how to have voluminous brows and stuff that will change your face. I wish I had done it today so I can look like I'm practiced what I preach. But today was a very difficult day. My son didn't sleep, so I didn't do very good makeup. But brow stencils, they say get good at brows and get good at lashes because you don't want to look sick. Because you'll feel sick. So, and a little bit of concealer, and a little bit of bronzer, and there are all types of tutorials on YouTube. Search for them instead of searching for cures through apricots. Search for ways to look cute until it's over because the medicine's gonna work, okay? You're gonna be fine, okay. My next tip is to use available resources, okay? I participated in yoga at the hospital. I met with dietitians. I went to therapy. There are people whose job it is to help you get through whatever you're going through. Something you suck at is somebody else's expertise, and such a terrible diagnosis comes with a lot of attention. When you're 8 months pregnant, you know you can cut into the Starbucks line, and it's kind of like, yeah, it sucks to like have your inner thighs rubbed, but it's really nice that they feel sorry for you. They're gonna let you go ahead. And there's a lot of that with cancer patients too. There's a lot of resources from a lot of credible sources, and that will help you get through this. Weaker people than you have gone through this. And my biggest tip is to use available resources. Maybe this being one of them, if it helps anybody. I hope so. Advice for friends and family of cancer patients. I often felt that I needed to comfort others about my situation so they would stop looking so sad. And if you can't handle it, just stay away for a little while. And that's okay. When people have newborn children, I don't really go visit them. And that's okay, because just Google it. They all look the same. That's how I feel. But when your kid's 3 and you're really annoyed with them, I'll come and play. Because that's my area of expertise, is communicating. And wherever I'm good and my presence is of value and of comfort to you, I will offer it to you. And if not, I'm not going to, just feel obligated to be there because someone's going through something. And my culture has taught me through guilt and shame that if someone's going through something miserable, you have to be there for them. Shout out to Armenians. You don't have to heal anyone. You don't have to cure them. You don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel the need to fix the situation or help. With that said, if you do want to help, sometimes the most practical way is to remove barriers. So if I can't hang out with my kids, maybe a play date, or just don't ask what we're craving. There's no craving. It's not that similar to pregnancy. I don't want to eat. I never want to eat. There's nothing you can bring me that will be appetizing. But sometimes, my cousins would pick up my kids, and I knew that they're having fun and I'm getting some rest. That was so much better than a basket full of socks, because my feet are fine. Be direct with your questions. Okay, there's a lot of things, as you noticed now, I'm not uncomfortable talking about. And yet, from friends and family, a lot of those were the questions I wasn't receiving. I don't mind telling you what my diagnosis is, what my treatments are, what my prognosis is, what my fears are, I don't mind sharing any of that. But, are you okay? I don't know how to answer that. It's very open-ended. I would say that as the recipient of this, and I can't speak on behalf of everybody, but I kind of appreciated the transparency that, sometimes kids would have. Why are you bald? Oh, I took this medicine. It makes you bald before it works, but it works. My hair's gonna be back in I think February. I would say that to kids. And I'd be around Valentine's Day, Things like that. So I don't mind the questions, but make sure you're not just doing them because you feel uncomfortable. We're okay with silence. We should all start being a little more okay with silence. Shh. Some perks, you get new boobs. Okay, that's nice. For a mother who breastfed 2 children. Okay, I used to toss them over my shoulder just to clean up underneath. So the mastectomy, I was looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie. It was cool. And you don't have to work. And it's an excellent excuse to get out of anything. Literally anything, from a traffic ticket to skipping weddings, forgetting birthdays. There's a few perks, to cancer. And that's one of them, is that you get an excuse for anything in life that you need. This too shall pass. And survival is success. Just even one day. Just making it to the end of the day is a huge success. You didn't have to be productive. You didn't have to touch anybody's life in a meaningful way like I just did with this beautiful segment. You just have to power through. And this too shall pass. Okay, so that's all the advice I have for now. Thank you for watching. I know that this might be unconventional wisdom. It's not for everybody, but it's so honest and it's so real. And that's all I would feel comfortable sharing. If anybody's, if you're going through this, if you know somebody who is going through this, you can feel free to reach out to me. We're going to try to link all the things that I mentioned down below. If you need the resources, take advantage of them. And thank you for watching. I know it's an uncomfortable thing to think about. I know it's an uncomfortable thing to watch. But such is reality. And once we face it, everything becomes just a little bit easier. And I think that is a message that can be applied all throughout life. Just make things a little bit easier and power through.
You're gonna look back on this when you're like a super famous comedian and be like, you remember?
I'm gonna send you this footage.
Office.
If I look back at this and I'm not proud of anything else, from the way I spoke to the advice I give, I know I can be proud of the fact that I was
brave enough.
You're 100% honest.
And yeah.
And like being, sorry, I can at least be proud of the fact that I was 100% honest, and like being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means experiencing all the things a coward would experience and moving forward anyway. And that's where I'm at, despite the fact that this is awkward, it's uncomfortable, it's scary, and it's a constant reminder. I know that it's necessary, and I feel that it's of a little bit of value.
Thank you.
Can we go home?